It's a great day. My name is Che Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission really is to inspire, our mission is to empower, and our mission is to provide you, the entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Dr. Roy L. Johnson Jr., who's in the building. What's up, Dr. Johnson? How you doing?
I am doing great, man. How you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for being here, man. Shout out to Taran, who put us together, by the way. Jackson, who's an amazing individual, man. So thanks a lot. You know, I know we were talking about weathering the storm. The folks are reading your bio. We'll talk about how famous you are. Some of the people have Googled you already. But before we get started, when you talk about weathering the storm, weathering the storm means different things to different people. So what is even the meaning of weathering the storm so we can all be on the same page?
So when we talk about weathering the storm, yeah, as you said, could mean different things to many people. But when we talk about weathering the storm, we're talking about your personal trials and tribulation. We're talking about things that you've gone through that seem to deter you off of track. Those distractions to lose to cause you to lose focus uh, along the journey that God has put you on, and you already know when the enemy gets a glimpse into your future that he doesn't like. He's gonna come in and try to kill, steal, and destroy you, and destroy your vision. So when we talk about weathering the storm, we're talking about those things that will cause you to get distracted and to throw you off course that God has for you.
You know, it seems like, and I might be the Debbie Downer here, but it seems like it should be easy to get right back on course, right? They can look at Instagram these days. They can look at TikTok these days. They can plug in a YouTube video. They should like be instantly right back focused. So I guess my question is, why are people struggling just to stay focused? I mean, why are they so distracted and having a hard time just getting back on track? It seems like it should be easy, but I guess obviously it's not.
It should be. It should be, but it's not for a couple of reasons. Um, some people, one of the big things is the imposter syndrome. They feel like they're not good enough. Somebody said that, oh, you doing that again, and so they feel like they're not good enough. What they're trying to do is not good enough. So it's one of those things that they're battling within themselves. One. The second one is them comparing themselves to others, what somebody else is doing, where somebody else is in life, where somebody else along their journey, not realizing that everybody has their own journey. Your process is different than my process. Your time frame to getting to where God has for you could could be a little bit longer uh than you, or it could be a little bit shorter. And so when we talk about this, it all starts with the mindset. Where are you in life? Where are you in your mind? What type of things have you gone through in life? Who were the type of people that you hung around with? Who were the type of people who influenced you? Who were the type of people that supported you? Who were the type of people who talked down on you and said that you couldn't do this? So a lot of those different factors go into play when when we're talking about this particular subject matter.
So what do you say to the person, and ladies and gentlemen, we'll get into a moment, his background. You learn about him being the launchologist, okay? You'll find out about him helping business owners. But there are a number of folks right now, Doc, if I can let you know, they're leaders, right? They're leaders in their family. They're leaders in their business. They're leaders in their community. A number of folks or we would call dualpreneurs. They're working full-time jobs and they're a full-time entrepreneur. Okay. And they say, I've got a lot going on. So before you talk about I'm getting distracted, what is Doc's view on the world on dealing with priorities? Because I'm taking care of my husband, or I'm taking care of my wife. Oh, by the way, I have kids. I hope he knows that. Oh, my kids have activities, so I'm involved in the kids' activities, and I've got a lot of stuff going on. So, how does Doc recommend that someone like myself deal with priorities and making sure we're getting first things done first, if I can say it like that, because they're busy?
Right, right. And the reality of it is people prioritize what they want to prioritize. Um, so what's important to me may not be important to you. But what I will say and suggest to everyone is that what is your foundation? What is your foundation? Is it your family? Is it your job? Is it your aspiration to start a business? Is it your children? Or is it God? That's something you have to evaluate for yourself, because I can't tell you what to prioritize. You have to make up in your mind in terms of what's important to you. As for me, God is my foundation. He is my priority. And wherever God has ordained, because his words say our steps have already been ordered. So if we put him first, then everything else is going to fall into place.
I love that. Making sure that he's first. Now, you also help businesses, which I believe is very important. Take a
Mhm.
moment and talk about the launchologist. I mean, how did that come about? What's the backstory? And then we'll learn about the doctor in a minute. And the reason I'm asking this question is that a number of folks are entrepreneurs. And they're like, you
Right.
know what? I'm always getting ready to get ready for something I'm never ready. Or it has to be perfect, Shay, before I can even take that first step. So talk about the launchologist. What's the backstory behind it, man?
Well, you know what the backstory to that is, when I step out on the stage, I would introduce myself as, when I before I became a doctor, I would introduce myself as, my name is Roy Johnson Jr., the launchologist. And so that was former, but now it's good evening. My name is Dr. Roy L. Johnson Jr., the launchologist. So as time went on, it really became my signature, uh, my signature part of my signature talk. Anytime I got on stage and would introduce myself, what you want to always do, you want to always leave people with something to remember you by. And if the lunchologist would be that thing that people will remember me by. And so one thing I would always and would advise anyone to do is create something that you want people to remember you by. Create something you want people to remember you by. And as for me, my business is the business launcher, so it goes hand in hand, the launchologist. And so can nobody do it the way I do it? Can nobody say it the way I say it? They may try, but that's who I am, the launchologist. So that is the backstory.
I love it, and we're learning about the backstory behind the launchologist, which I think is brilliant, by the way. Now, folks want to know about you. Who are you? You're sharing all the knowledge and saying people should do certain things. You have the priorities in place. You're mentioning faith. You mentioned entrepreneurship. So let's slow down for a moment. Then, ladies and gentlemen, we'll speed back up. Tell them who are you, and a little bit about the backstory, and what was the defining moment that you knew that you were called to do what you're doing now?
Good question. Um, So again, my name is Dr. Royal Johnson Jr., uh, the lunchologist. And so initially, I grew up in a household where education was promoted heavily. You go to school, you graduate, you get good grades, you graduate, and from there you go to college. Uh, you graduate from college, and you get that good job. Well, you know what? I did all of that. I went to school. I made the grades. Went to college. Initially, I was going to college to become a doctor, a OBGYN. But but I had an aha moment. I had a coming to Jesus moment. I had a real transparent moment to where one day I took a test. I studied for a test. I knew I studied for the test, but then my grade said otherwise. And so I remember the day sitting on the curb in front of my dorm, and tears just started rolling down my eyes because um, I started to think that this journey that I was on of becoming a doctor, I wasn't good enough. And so what am I doing? And so I thought about it. I thought about okay, well, you know what? Mama didn't raise no food, dad didn't raise no food, so I definitely wasn't going back and changing my major. So I completed that degree in biology. um, Went into education, eighth grade, taught eighth grade science. What I learned from that is that my methodology for teaching wasn't customary to the classroom. In other words, I taught science. With science, you can't just teach word from word for the book. You have to be creative, and that wasn't appreciated. The administration didn't appreciate me. Felt like it was a target on my back, and so I left there. Went into management. I thought I was done with working with kids. Lo and behold, being in management, I define as nothing more than running an adult daycare, dealing with adults, big kids. And so as you can see, up until this point, entrepreneurship was nowhere in my future. But the defining moment came when I was faced with I was up against a rock in a hard place. A moment of transparency. I went to the doctor, and the doctor uh, told me that my blood pressure was extremely high, and for the longest they've been trying to get it under control. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get it under control, and he already knew what the factor was. It was my environment. It was my job. And he told me that if I continue to go to that job, I may not make it from that job. That job may have been the one factor that would have taken me out of this world. And the so with me being faced with that reality, that was a choice I had to make. The choice that I had to make was, am I going to go back to this job and allow the job to take me out, or am I going to uh, finally take a chance on me and go 100% in on me? That was the defining moment. That was the pivotal moment. And so in September of 2009, I took a chance on myself. I closed my eyes, and if I tell you it was literally blind faith, it was blind faith. And that was the day that I became an entrepreneur. And you may ask me if I had a dream, what that dream was. I didn't have one. It was literally blind faith. And so that was the moment where I became an entrepreneur.
Wow. Well, thanks for sharing. You're doing amazing things helping entrepreneurs. And now you get a chance to step back. And if you say, Shay, on this entrepreneurial journey, they've got to weather the storm. Here are one, two, or three things that I would recommend that if you're watching right now and you're an entrepreneur and you're going through some difficult times, because we know being an entrepreneur has its high highs and its low lows. It has its ups and its downs, its twists and its turns, and all the wonderful things that go along with it. Having been a full-time entrepreneur all the time, full-time for 20 years, is there. What are three maybe recommendations you would have, or ideas or suggestions if someone is watching right now that's going through a storm that can help them not only get back on track, but help them be successful? What are maybe a couple ideas you would share, man?
So the very first thing is put God first. Put God first. Without Him, we can do nothing. We are nothing. So that would be my first suggestion, is to put God first. The second one is trust the process. Trust the process. Oftentimes, oftentimes we want to rush the process and not realizing that if God blessed us with what He had for us too soon, it would be premature. It's just like a baby. The maturation time for a baby is 9 months. And if that baby uh, comes into the world too soon, it will be considered premature. So you do not want to you do not want him to bless you prematurely. So trust the process. And the last one, the last one is go 100% in on yourself with yourself, because nobody's going to have belief in you like you have belief in yourself. Nobody is going to see the vision that you have within you, that you see within yourself, that God has given to you. The reason for this is because you've been charged with that responsibility to carry that vision. And so everybody's not going to have belief in you the way that you have belief in yourself. So those would be three things that I would tell you as an entrepreneur, uh, weathering the storm. Those were three things that I would tell you put in your toolbox and use as arsenal when you are weathering the storm.
I love it, man. So well said. And I love the part of trust. I love all of it, but I love the part you got to trust the process. And people might tell you it didn't work, and they're right. Maybe it didn't work today, but it doesn't mean it's not going to work tomorrow. You've got to trust the process. So well said. You know, we have a segment here called "Today is my January 1st," and it might be some folks who are wondering, "Man, has this life always been perfect?" Well, we're going to find out in a moment. For those folks that are watching to tune in every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I know you wait to say those magical words. You can go and say those words now. Today is my January 1st. Doesn't that feel good? Happy New Year to you. By the way, Happy New Year. For all the folks who are tuning in for the very first time, welcome, welcome, welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show family. We're glad that you're here. Today is our January 1st is our personal mantra. It represents, well, a fresh start. It represents a do-over. It means our past, no matter how dark and gloomy that past is, or how bright and sunny that past is, the past no longer equals the future. And so my question for Doc on the other side is when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what do you hear? And then number two, what was another setback, a challenge that you had in your life? You had to go through a storm, and how did you bounce back from it?
So when you say today is my January 1st, oftentimes people see where you are right now, the glitz, the glamour, the ice cream with the cherry on top, but not knowing what you had to go through to get to. Oftentimes people say, you know what, I want to be like you, and I tell them, no, don't you don't want to know, and you don't want to have to go through what I went through to get to where I am. But my January 1st was the day that I walked in my apartment and my electricity was off, my cell phone was off, and then let's take it up a notch. Then I look outside and my vehicle was gone. I had the remote, I had the keys, I remember where I parked at, but when I looked out the window, my vehicle was gone. It was repossessed. So you're talking about a turning point. You're talking about a moment of transparency. You're talking about a moment of, okay, God, what is going on? What is going on? Me and him really, we had a talk. We had a talk. And it got to the point to where I had to question him. I had to question him. You remember what they said growing up as a child, when your mama and daddy told you something, don't question them. Well, this time I went against the grain and I had to question God. Like, okay, God, my phone is off, my electricity off, my vehicle is repossessed. Where am I going? What are you doing? And so I had to back up. And in the midst of that conversation, you hear that loud, still voice. Do you trust me? Hmm? Do you trust me? Okay, God, I trust you. I trust you. And so that was the pivotal moment of that was my January 1st. But when God asked me if I trusted him, that was the turning point. That was the turning point. Up until that point, I may not have had everything that I wanted, but I had everything I needed. I had everything I needed. And so, how did I bounce back? Through that question: do I trust him? And yes, I trusted him. And going on 15 years later, I have yet to have a corporate America job. Why? Because I trusted him and I trusted the process. So I'm not telling you anything that I hadn't gone through. I gave you a moment of transparency. And oftentimes people need to hear that moment of transparency so they don't think that what I'm getting into is just peaches and cream. No, that's a lie. I'd be the first to tell you that it's a lie.
I
So,
love it, man. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for being so transparent. When I have these conversations, one of my favorite questions to ask when I get time, and well, obviously I can make the time, which I'm doing now, is what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? And I'll frame the conversation for the audience. The doc has had so many mentors along this journey of life. I'm sure he's read books. They might have been mentors to him. He's watched videos. That might have been mentors. He's met some folks in person, maybe others he considered a mentor and never met. But if you had to step back and just pick out, man, of all the pieces of advice I've got, what's one of the ones I want to share right now? And it's a great piece of advice. What would it be and why?
mm, I would say one of the biggest piece of advice is stop operating in the shadows of other people. Stop operating in the shadows of other people. And the reason I say that is because oftentimes that's what I've been doing. I've been putting everything that God has given me on the back burner to ensure the success, to ensure the growth of other people's vision while mine has been lying dormant. And so I'm going to use this as a prime example. Uh, for about 2 years, I had one of my mentors, a coach, uh, to tell me you need to write a book. It's time to write a book. I would look. I said, no. I bucked her. I shunned the idea, but she stayed on me. She stayed persistent and kept telling me, you've been operating in the shadow of other people. Now it's time to come out of the shadows of those other people and time to start focusing on you because there is a nation of people that is waiting on you. There's a nation of people that's waiting to read your book. There's a nation of people waiting to hear your voice. And if I stayed in the shadow of somebody else, guess what? Those people that I've been called to serve will never begin to experience the full manifestation of what's waiting on them. Why? Because I refuse to come out of the shadow of somebody else. It's time to focus on you for a change. And as a result, when I came out of the shadows of other people, my book was birthed. I graduated with my doctorate. And I moved in silence with that because didn't nobody know that I was doing it. I moved in silence through that process.
I appreciate the authenticity, man, and appreciate you sharing what's inside your heart and your view of the world. I'm curious, when you're not out saving the world, what do you do for fun these days? You're not out writing books and helping businesses launch and helping companies make money. What do you just do for fun?
You know what? One of the main reasons why outside of the fact that I was dealing with, the imposter syndrome, feeling like I wasn't good enough, uh, in college, one of the main reasons why I did not go into the medical field is because I'm a family person. I enjoy spending time with family, friends, quality time. Put it like that. Not just time, but quality time. And it's during those moments that there are things that cannot be replicated, cannot be duplicated, and I refuse to miss out on those moments. And so, spending time with family, spending time with friends, going bowling. Shay, do you know how to bowl?
No, I mean I know how to, but I can't bowl. I mean I've gone bowling, but that's not my jam.
Yeah, and so I, enjoy going bowling. Just good, clean fun around good, uh, being around good people because you know having the wrong people in your environment can uh, can poison your thought process. And so I'm very careful with who I'm around and the people that I bring around because they can penetrate your thought process and you can think that they have your best interest in mind when all along they're waiting to hear that, oh, something didn't work or something failed, and so I'm not going to do it again. They and get it and take it back. But yeah, I enjoy spending quality time with the people that I love and care about.
Wow, very special. Well, as we come down the home stretch, I have a two-part question to close us out. Number one, what type of clients are you looking to work with these days, if any? And number two, how can folks best connect with you? How can they stay in this conversation over and beyond the time that you and I have now?
So actually, yeah, I am looking uh, for clients. I'm looking for those individuals uh, who who is ready to move from stagnation to manifestation, who is willing, who and ready to unleash that inner giant and start living to their fullest potential. I'm looking for those individuals who have these audacious dreams and are inspired to go out, serve, uh, to serve others, be motivated, be encouraged, to say, you know what, I've been waiting on someone like you to push me to that next level. I'm looking for those individuals looking to go to that next level, ready to start that business. And so those are the individuals that I'm looking for. Now, if you want to get in contact with me, I can be reached at uh, Instagram at I am Roy Johnson. You can also go to my website at www.thebusinesslauncher.com. And you can even send me an email at roy at Roy L. Johnson Jr., and that's jr.com. And I'm even on Facebook, Roy Johnson Jr.
Well, let me say thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show, man. We know you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. And you're giving us the most precious resource you have, which is your time. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, Shay.
And thank you. Thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in, by the way, because without you, well, there is no show. So we appreciate you every night showing up. Yeah, it's pretty cool when you hit the like button, but we really like it when you can hit the share button, when you can pay this message forward to someone else so their life can be better, their business can be better. You do good for other folks. We really appreciate that. So thanks for tuning in. I never get tired of reminding you every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that you really are amazing. If no one's told you you're awesome, you're a game changer, you're freaking incredible, and if you're an entrepreneur, you're a special human being, and I believe for you, today indeed is your January 1st, and because of just that one reason alone, Your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. They ain't seen it yet. Your best yet to come. Thanks a lot, Doc, for showing up. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. We out of here. Peace.